Homo.
Honorable Nomvalo,
Sanibona Sihlalo.
Honorable Shongwe,
Sanibonani eMzantsi Afrika.
good morning, Honorable Pambo. Good morning, Advocate Mkize.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, honorable members.
Good morning, Mr. Paulo Sullivan.
Good morning, Chair.
Good morning, Honorable Skosana.
Ngiyalochisa mgcini sihlalo nesitshaba sikazimo namalunga wesibethamthetho esiphakamleko.
Mr. Techana, good morning. Good morning, Mr. Ramano. Good morning to members of staff in the political caucuses. Honorable members, thank you so much for making yourselves available. We are at S12A venue at the NCOP building. The venue is very small, honorable members, but Mr. Ramano says I must tell you that when we take a break at 1, we must proceed to Good Hope Chambers where we will conclude today's business. Mr. Paulo Sullivan, welcome. And let me thank you for agreeing to come back. And let me also thank you for writing to us, apologizing for what happened last week, where you ended up leaving the proceedings in the manner that it happened. But what is very important that you are here today and we are going to continue with our business. And I will give you some 5 minutes, 2 to 5 minutes. If there is anything you want to say, you say before we go ahead with the proceedings. Today we are going to allow the members to interact with you and thereafter give to the legal team to conclude their business with you, and we should be able to release you. Can I check if there is any 1 or 2 things that you want to say?
No, thank you, Chair. I'm just happy to continue to complete this exercise because it's been going on for quite some time now.
Yeah.
And I'm keen to get it finalized, yeah.
Okay. Honorable members, can I check between the parties if there is any one of you who has anything to say before we rotate for questions? ANC.
Thanks, Chair. Just one thing, Chair, because there is a document that was circulated to members yesterday deemed to be an apology from the witness. If you can lead us there so that the deemed apology should be read for the record before we maybe enter in questioning. Thank you very much, Chair.
Okay. The MKP.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to say to you, Chair, and good morning to Mr. O'Sullivan, that what happened outside, not in fact, in the President of Parliament last week when he left, he made some allegations against me that I must go and pay my debt at the bank. Now, I have to say it here that at a later stage I'm going to show you and him, he must retract that as aspiration, casting aspiration that I'm owing 600,000 because that money was paid and the proof is here, it was paid last year. So for him to point a finger at me and say, when I'm saying to him, you are running away, he said, I'm running away from the bank. You know, I just want him to be prepared for that because the issue which he was talking about was done and dusted. And in fact, Chair, if you're running a business, if you know what business is all about, there was nothing sinister of one owing or having a judgment or whatever because it was a default judgment. But that judgment, which is talking about, is history. And I've got proof here that money was paid. When he was doing interviews on NCA, he was asked several times on a daily newspaper, he mentioned that 600,000. And I want to just say to you, Chair, the proof is here, so I want him to apologize and retract that statement.
Okay.
And yeah, thank you.
The DA,
Thank you, Chairperson. I will reserve in the question time for
Okay.
our statements. Thank you.
the EFF,
Thanks, Chair. We'll wait for the questions.
okay. The IFP,
Well, thank you, Chairperson. We will be actually waiting to interact with the witness.
The
through
PA.
voices. Thank you.
the FF plus,
Thank you, Chair. Nothing for now.
okay. When we circulated the letter that Mr. Apollo Sullivan.
You don't ask me, Chair, but I have
Oh,
nothing
Honorable
to say.
James,
like,
I'm sorry.
yeah, Chair.
Look, I must apologize. You know the seating arrangement today. I'm always looking there. I'm looking for you there where I know it to be your usual spot. I'm sorry.
Apology accepted. Thanks, Chair.
Yeah. Anything that you want to say?
No, nothing for now. Thank you.
Honorable members, yesterday when the apology was circulated, we said that there was a part in the apology that included confidential information, which the witness has requested that it must stay between us and him. And I'm saying to Bonani that if that apology has to be put on record, you may not have to be surprised when certain parts of that apology are not being read here publicly. Is that okay, Mr. O'Sullivan?
Sorry, what's the question, Chair?
I'm saying that in the letter that you wrote to us, you requested that there was some part which was confidential because it contains your personal records and you may not want, personal details, which you may not want them to go out publicly. Am I representing you correctly?
That is correct, Chairman.
Thank you so much. Maybe even without reading that letter into the record, is it not better when you say it yourself? You say it the way you want it to be said. I think it will be better that way if you say it yourself.
Thank you, Chairman. Is it working properly?
Yeah, we can hear you.
So it's a lengthy document. The beginning of it, it's an affidavit under oath. It says, I, the undersigned Paul O'Sullivan, state under oath as follows. The purpose of this affidavit is to deal with my apology for and reasons for departure from the ad hoc committee on 2026-02-26. I unreservedly apologize to the Speaker of the National Assembly and all Member of Parliament, including but not limited to the Chairman and members of the ad hoc committee, for departing from the ad hoc committee at 13:15 on 2026-02-26. The circumstances leading to my departure can be described as follows, and then that I explain a number of confidential
Yeah,
reasons why it was necessary for me to leave.
yeah.
So that's the apology I gave, Chairman.
Thank you so much. What we will do, honorable members, because this is not a housekeeping meeting, the apology has been formally presented before yourselves. And then at your own time, in your own meeting, you can look at the apology and decide whether you accept it or not. But the witness, what he says is that he is unreservedly, I heard you using the word unreservedly, apologize for what happened on that day. I'm going to allocate your members. Each one of you, I'm giving 20 minutes because I'm understanding that you are not meeting with the witness for the first time. This is the fourth time today. So I'm going to, maybe let me check first. Who are the members who still have matters that they want to raise with the witness? ANC 1, 2. DA is 1, is Honorable Top. From the ANC is Honorable Sangoni and Honorable Ngola. From the DA is Honorable Topa. From the MKP is the 3 of them. From the EFF is the 2 of them, Honorable Malema and Honorable Matthews. And then we have Bangazita. And then we have Vessels, Honorable Vessels and Honorable James. Honorable Kola Barnard, are you triggered? No, it's not per party, it's per person. Are you satisfied that Honorable Topa will represent you? Can I check again before I close the list? It's only yourself, Honorable Kola Barnard and Honorable Sokanyile, who have not raised hands. Am I correct? Thank you so much. Going, gone. The list is closed. I must check the time. Can I remind all of you that the witness is still under oath? We don't need to administer oath again. What is the time now? Yeah, Honorable Sangoni.
Apologies.
Yes, let's quickly check if we have apologies for today. Yes, Honorable Sangoni.
Thank you, Chair. We have an apology from Honorable Ntuli. He is engaged in other parliamentary matters today. And then Honorable Sokanyile is going to depart and join us again after lunch. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Topa.
Honourable Chair, Honourable Ian Cameron will be a few minutes late. He was in Roland Street the last we spoke. And Glenys Breitenbach has a standing apology for the week.
What is the apology on Honorable Breitenbach?
Chair, it has been, I think, explained, and she said for the whole week she would not be here due to party business.
Oh, okay. Any further apologies? Honorable Vessels.
Thank you, Chairperson. I will just have to be excused around 3 o'clock just to introduce 2 reports in the plenary.
Okay. Thank you so much. The rotation starts now. Who is starting from the African National Congress?
Thank you very much, Chair. Mr. O'Sullivan, a lot of evidence has been presented before the committee. And amongst the issues that were raised with the committee, one is that you have, through a video that was played here, threatened Parliament and the members of the committee The second issue that the committee had to deal with is a threatening message you sent to Mr. Kabinde when he was testifying here. After you have staged a walkout, General Pahlane reiterated that you have constantly sent him threatening and insulting messages. Yesterday, a prosecutor that prosecuted a case against you, Advocate Mashuga, showed us numerous threatening and insulting messages you sent to him when he was a prosecutor in a case against you. Why are you this bully? Why are you this bully? Why are you this bully? Bully. Yes. Why? You don't know.
I can't explain.
You are just bully. Without any explanation. You just bully around people. You threaten them. You threatened, according to the evidence that was delivered to us yesterday, Advocate Mashuga, that you are going to send him to jail. You later, after he's arrested, are going to go after his wife. You are going to ensure that his house is taken to auction. You will buy that house in auction and you will sell it for profit. Why are you bullying people around? Where do you get this authority, you and you alone, to bully people around?
Sorry, Chairman, it might be seen as bullying on my part, but it needs to be taken into context with the unlawful conduct of those people against me, which included dragging me off a plane in front of my minor children, assaulting me, detaining and torturing me for 3 days, repeatedly raiding my offices, and all sorts of other extraneous activities, including falsely charging me and forcing me to stand trial on no fewer than 6 different trumped-up trials, 4 of which were acquitted. I was found not guilty. It forced me to spend 88 days in court of my own time and 140 days in preparing to spend 88 days in court. I had to move my family to the other side of the world for their own protection because people wanted to kill me, and that included police officers who were part of this whole conspiracy against me. So if my conduct was seen as bullying, it was a response to the outrageous and egregious conduct of prosecutors and police officials who acted unlawfully as they were part of the state capture project. They wanted to silence anybody that was exposing corruption. So that really is the very simple answer for the alleged bullying. But to be frank with you, the criminal justice system, as we know, is still captured. And the cases I've opened against those people are still gathering dust, save for the cases I've opened against Pahlane, because he's now on trial for, I think, plus minus, I don't know the exact figure, but plus minus 300 million rand. And if I hadn't have opened the case against him, I think he would have probably gotten away with it. And if I hadn't have stuck to my guns, and if we look at this in perspective, I opened the case against General Pahlane in February 2016. And by October 2016, no investigation had been done whatsoever, apart from the investigation which I carried out at my own expense and my own risk to identify witnesses and take statements from them, because IPID was captured at that stage. Okay. So I'm sorry it's seen by certain people as bullying, it's certainly seen by the people who attacked me as bullying, but what they failed to do is point out, while they're describing my bullying, the unlawful conduct that they carried out against myself and my family. And
Okay.
yeah, that's it in a
No,
nutshell.
that's fine. Even so, there is nothing that gives you a right to insult and threaten people. And for that matter, the evidence that is before us is that there is nothing wrong we have done as this committee. There is nothing wrong Advocate Mashokga did, but you sent him threatening emails. But let's part that part. Let's pass that part. So, was the braai about a braai or about a book launch?
Are we talking about the braai in December 2016?
Yes.
The braai was a year-end braai, and invited to that braai was a journalist who wrote a book, and that book was distributed at the braai, and also distributed at the braai was a document which is actually in part of my bundle called Joining the Dots. Unfortunately, whatever else took place at the braai is a complete misrepresentation. I was only there for an hour and a half to 2 hours, and then I left because I had to go to the airport. I was flying overseas. So it was a braai and a book launch and the handing out of a document called Joining the Dots, Chairman.
Okay, if so, why was it highly confidential? If it's a braai and a distribution of copies of a book written by one of your own, why was it highly confidential?
It wasn't confidential, Chairman. The only thing that was confidential at the time, and this is a fact, at the time there was an attempt to murder myself, and at the time I didn't want anybody to know where I was. So the only thing that was confidential was the fact that the braai was taking place and that I would be there. Bearing in mind, by that stage, I'd already survived something like 6 or 7 attempts on my life in the prior 3 years to that time.
Did you buy Rotovan Krisha's house?
No.
The prosecutor that prosecuted your impersonating an IPID official case solicited witness statements from the security guards that were there when you visited the estate manager, and the people who were dealing with the building plans and stuff. And they are corroborating with the allegations made by General Pahlane that you have asked them questions about, amongst other things, the nature of the guns his protectors carry, how many protectors, how many cars and stuff. And you have said to us, you only went there to point out what you deemed as a crime scene. So how did this kind of question be part of what you call just a pointing out of a crime scene?
Chairman, there was a criminal investigation by IPID, which was 10 months late getting off the ground because of the capture of IPID by the then Minister of Police and others. And the investigation, when it got off the ground, resulted in me being requested, and I complied with the request, to assist bring the investigating team up to speed. And I've set this out in some detail. The allegations, and I didn't see what took place, I believe, in this committee yesterday, but the allegations, the false allegations made by Michael Mashokga contained within his affidavit is a repeat of the same allegations he placed before the Zondo Commission in 2020. And I provided a very detailed response to those allegations, including the tape recordings of the meetings that we had, which proved that the counter-investigation being carried out by the Northwest team or Mabula team, whatever you would like to call it, the counter-investigation being carried out by them resulted in them obtaining contradictory sworn statements from witnesses who had already provided sworn statements to IPID officials. And the sworn statements provided to IPID officials were now being countered under the false allegation. And I believe the evidence has been led by Robert McBride. The false allegation was that there was a so-called threat against General Pashlani. But the reality of the situation is there was no request to carry out a threat analysis. That was a cover story. And the cover story resulted in a docket being opened, I think, on the first week or the second week of January, multiplicity of statements being taken from state witnesses who had already given statements to IPID, and 3 weeks later, fraudulently obtaining arrest warrants and then arresting people to stop the investigation into General Pashlani. The end result was that IPID took it upon themselves to launch an application in the High Court to have the counter-investigation declared unlawful, and the counter-investigation eventually, I think it was Justice Tugton, Neil Tugton, and Justice Neil Tugton gave an order stating that the conduct of the Northwest team was illegal. But notwithstanding all of that, my submission to the Zondo Commission sets out chapter and verse with evidence, and the evidence includes the transcripts of the meetings that took place. And those transcripts prove beyond reasonable doubt, and the voice recordings prove beyond reasonable doubt, that the counter-investigation statements were false, and they were only intended to bring false charges against myself, my then corporate counsel, Sarah Jane Trent, and I think 2 or 3, I can't remember their names, of the IPID officers that were carrying out the investigation based on the docket which I had opened. And at that point, it became clear that, in fact, the docket I had opened ended up getting parked, and I don't think, although he was arrested on it, I don't think he was
I think we got the point.
prosecuted on it. And then other dockets were opened by IPID, which I had absolutely nothing to do with.
Okay, no, I think we got the point. Did you or did you not threaten those people there to falsify statements, to give you personal banking details of people, to give you the building plan of General Pashlane's house, and if not, they are liable for an imprisonment of a time period not less than 2 years because they are defying you and you are from IPID?
And the answer is no. It's an absolute lie.
So if you were there to point out a crime scene as a complainant at IPID, what was Miss Trent doing there?
What was what?
Miss Trent doing there?
Well, she was my corporate counsel. She's an attorney, and she assisted me with the investigation into Pashlani. She was also at the time a director of Forensics for Justice. Forensics for Justice were carrying out the investigation. Forensics for Justice was registered, and the purpose of Forensics for Justice is to expose state-sponsored corruption. And if you go on the website, you can see all the cases there where we have brought charges against people for corruption. And I think only 2 of those cases involved working with IPID, and that was the case against General Ntlemeza, who eventually got fired. It was found that his appointment was unlawful because he was not a fit and proper person, and also the Pashlani matter. And the Pashlani matter that the docket I opened only related to where the funds came from for the construction of his house and his corrupt relationship with a police supplier. And when IPID investigate that, they found a lot more. And I wasn't involved in that investigation at all.
Okay. Let's go back to your walkout,
The what?
your march out.
Mass house. What? Ah,
When you stood up and left in Parliament. Do you understand that you took an oath that you are going to answer fully and satisfactorily? And you just stood up when the evidence leader was still busy questioning you. Do you not consider that as a breaking your own oath that you have taken in Parliament? And consequences for that should be followed in accordance to the powers, privileges, and immunities of Parliament and Provincial Legislators Act.
no, I don't.
You stood up without being released.
Honorable Ngola, that question is not related to our terms of reference. It's a matter which the committee can deal with at its own time.
Are you saying, Chair, we shouldn't ask questions in relation to the march out?
Yeah, no, it's not related to our terms of reference. Let's probe the witness for the purpose we called him here. If members want to discuss that matter, we can discuss it later, but not during the proceedings. If you want the witness to respond to that, let's deal with the matters that we called him here for. And when we are done with these proceedings, if you want him to explain that incident, then we can give you time to deal with that.
No, Chair, you'll recall that at the time of the incident, you would have rotated the matter and asked if we want Mr. O'Sullivan back. And would have, as members, expressly said yes, and given the reasons why we want Mr. O'Sullivan back. And amongst those reasons was the conduct of him as a witness under oath in respect of the work we're doing here as Parliament. So I don't understand now if we are not going to go to that extent, Chair, because we have expressly said amongst the reasons we want him back is that the way he has conducted himself in this work we're doing is actually relevant to a sitting of this.
That is exactly what I'm saying, that for now, use your time to ask him questions. When we are done with this part, we will give you a chance to ask him questions on that matter.
That's fine, Chair. I'm happy to
It must be a separate item.
Okay.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
That's fine, Chair. I'm done for the first part. Thank you.
The 3 minutes that I've taken from you, don't want to use them?
No, I'm done, Chair.
Okay. Honorable Sangoni.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Good morning again, Mr. O'Sullivan. You know what? I think a lot of ground we've already canvassed, but there are obviously things that have since arisen since the last time you were here, and we thought that we would use this opportunity to then address those. Now, just this morning when you arrived, you said SAPS is still captured. Who has captured SAPS right now, according to you?
Chairman, I've set this out in my affidavit in some detail. And I remain of the opinion that certain senior management within the police, specifically within crime intelligence, and the police commissioner himself, they have a lot of questions to answer. And I'm not Parliament, but somebody somewhere needs to be asking those questions. And the type of questions I'm talking about are set out in some detail in my affidavit. And I have gone over it already. If you require me to go through it again, I'm happy to do so. But I remain of the opinion that if you can open a docket in South Africa and 3 weeks later get warrants of arrest for 2 people or 4 people who are exposing a corrupt police chief, that's proof that the state is captured, that the police and the prosecution service is captured. And then when those people get arrested in breach of a High Court order that says that I may not be arrested, and by the way, I spent over R500,000 to get that High Court order. And the only reason I applied for that High Court order was because the cops the dirty cops, kept raiding my offices and kept threatening to arrest me, and did arrest me and drag me off planes and do all these nasty things. I was left no alternative but to get the High Court order. Having obtained the High Court order, we have video footage of this Northwest team arresting me and my attorney reading the High Court order out to them and them saying that order doesn't apply to us. And then that same night, when my attorneys go and bring an urgent application for habeas corpus at midnight in the High Court, because it's an urgent matter, the same prosecutor that was here yesterday, Michael Mashuka, he went there and told the court that order doesn't apply to him either. And they
Sorry, Mr.
wanted
Elson,
to
I'll come back.
detain me.
Sorry.
And the reason they want to detain me was as punishment to stop me from exposing corruption.
Okay, I've got the High Court order because I wanted to ask you about that. But you see why, and I don't want you to go back to your affidavit. I mean, we've gone through that at length. The problem we have, whether it's your problem or our problem as a committee, is that everybody makes sweeping statements about how corrupt criminal intelligence is. I would have thought that at least you would be in a position to at least give us some sort of evidence around this. Would you be able to do that? Do you have evidence that points to this corruption in criminal intelligence and the police commissioner?
Yeah, I have the evidence, Chairman. It's contained within my affidavit. And I mean, must we go back to it and read it? Because it's there. I've set out copious detail of how the crime intelligence Secret Service account, which I call a slush fund, has been a piggy bank for senior police officials for the last 20 years. And it's still a piggy bank. And in 2012, I've used as an example, that piggy bank budget was 98 million rand per annum. This year, it's 600 million rand per annum, which is a growth of over 500%. And during the same period, inflation only grew at 113%. And then you end up with a situation where...
And so Advocate Mashuka contends that you have contravened both the National Prosecuting Authority Act as well as the National Credit Act, and he sets out why. So I'm going to start with the National Credit Act. He's talking about your ability and consistent obtaining of personal credit information, amongst others, financial information of private citizens. Now, you are not authorized to have that information, do you?
Chairman, that's not correct. If you look at the Act, and I don't have the Act in front of me because I didn't know this question would be coming. If you look at the Act, it makes it clear that the information can be used for fraud prevention and fraud investigation purposes. Now, fraud and corruption are pretty much the same thing. Quite often, Chairman, a person is charged with fraud and corruption or just fraud. And those investigations, they are investigative tools. So there's every certified fraud examiner in the country who carries out fraud investigations, signs a code of conduct, has access to those tools.
But it was...
They're not allowed to...
Sorry, Mr. O'Sullivan. When you were getting the personal information of Mr. Dupree, for example, General Phahla and his driver, were you investigating him for fraud?
No, Chairman, when you're doing a fraud investigation, you have to be able to find witnesses. And in the case of General Phahla, we received information, and it was the builder of the house. His name, Frikkie de Blanche. And Frikkie de Blanche gave information that he was paid with checkers or spar bags out of the boot of General Phahla's car. And the first payment was 350,000 Rand in cash. The second payment was 350,000 Rand in cash. So we asked him who was the driver of the car. Actually, it was IPID that wanted to know his details. He couldn't provide that details. So all we had was a name. And I can't remember the first name. I think it was Alvain. Alvain Dupree. So we went through the population register and got a list of all the A. Duprees. And then you can work out by looking which one of them is working in the police. And then we were able to establish that. We then provide that information to IPID. And then IPID decided to interview, and they asked me to go with. And the reason they asked me to go with was because they felt, this is the late
Sorry, I think
Mandla
you've answered
Mslangu.
me.
He felt that Mr. Dupree would answer questions better to a white man than he would to a black man.
Mr. O'Sullivan, when you got then Honorable Skosana's information, were you investigating him for fraud?
I didn't get his information. It's a High Court judgment and it's public information. So I got a phone call the week before I appeared last time, and the phone call gave me the details. I sent somebody to Middelburg High Court, and they confirmed to me that there was a High Court judgment against Mr. Skosana.
But were you profiling then the members of this committee, Mr. O'Sullivan? Because I don't know why that would necessarily be of interest to you.
Well, it's not of interest to me unless somebody phones me and provides me information. So we don't profile. I don't know anything about you or anybody else on the committee. The only person I got information about was Mr. Skosana, and it was a phone call. They provided the information. I then decided to check it out.
But can you see where I'm going with this, Mr. O'Sullivan? It's, I mean, there's accusations that are made because of your forensic capabilities. You are able to go after private citizens, you get their personal information, and then that is used to intimidate them. What would be your comment to that?
That's absolutely not true.
Okay, then I think Honorable Ngola has asked you your stand, Fenta, and the issues of misrepresentation.
The Mr. What, sorry?
Of misrepresentation, because it said that, you know, you misrepresented yourself as an IPID officer. I don't want to go back there. But I want to go to Advocate Mashukha, and this is a conversation we're having as members, that everybody sits there. You've got markedly different versions of what had happened, but in Advocate Mashucha's statement, he says there's an email that you wrote to Mzinyati, who I think was the DPP of Gauteng, if I'm not mistaken, where you said the latest criminal suspect I need to bring to your attention is Advocate Mashucha, and then you go on and on. Now, why do you refer to Mashucha as a criminal suspect, and what evidence do you have that Mashucha is a criminal?
So the email, I don't have it in front of me, but the email would have set out the reasons why, and also would have set out the reasons why was my statement to the Zondo Commission, which is 55 pages long, and I set out chapter and verse in there. And if the chair requires, I will make that statement available to this committee through the evidence leader. And that statement sets out chapter and verse that Michael Mashucha perjured himself by lying through his teeth to the Zondo Commission and to the court, where...
Sorry, without going to the statement, sorry, Mr. O'Sullivan, without going to the statement, but I mean, when you say he's a criminal, can you just, is it a crime of perjury, or is there anything else that you are accusing Advocate Mashucha of?
My allegations were perjury and defeating the ends of justice.
In relation to the case that he was prosecuting you for?
In relation to his conduct in assisting the Northwest team to shut down an investigation involving General Pashlani, where the allegations were quite clear that we had a corrupt acting chief of police. Now, if you have a corrupt acting chief of police, it doesn't take long to figure out what's going to happen to the criminal justice system. And in the case of General Pashlani, the evidence against him is overwhelming. I think he's arraigned on 2 or 3 different trials. By the way, we had nothing to do with those investigations at all. That was other work that IPID did. I had no knowledge of that. But in my affidavit to the Zondo Commission, I set out to prove that there were 5 lies that Advocate Mashucha made in order to obtain warrants of arrest. So that means he fraudulently obtained warrants of arrest for one reason and one reason only, because he was part of a conspiracy to shut down a corruption investigation.
Okay. Your High Court order, Mr. O'Sullivan, so you go to court, you say that you're being harassed by the South African Police Services, I'll assume. And you, I'm sure amongst your prayers, you ask for 48 hours notification before an arrest. Is my understanding correct in terms of what you asked the court for? I mean, I think I'm struggling to understand why a court would grant a citizen such unprecedented, in my view, leeway to say the cops cannot touch you in any matter in perpetuity. You must be given 48 hours notice. Could you take us through how that would have come about?
Sure. Chairman, this is a very simple one to explain. This took place in September. The application was launched in September 2016. Now, prior to September 2016, I had received multiple breaches of my constitutional rights by dirty cops being directed by various parties, and those parties included the then head of DPCI, Major General Nklemeza, the Gauteng head of DPCI, Major General Mokotedi, and the acting chief of police, General Pashlani. Now, in my affidavit, I set out chapter and verse as to why that court order was necessary. Because the harassment, we asked for an undertaking, we were given an undertaking, and a week later, the prosecutor said, no, I'm not honoring that undertaking, I'm going to arrest your client again. So then we went to court. And in fact, we didn't ask for that court order. What we asked for was that for any alleged offence that took place prior to, and I think the date was 1st of June 2016, for any alleged offence prior to the 1st of June 2016, I not be arrested at all, but I be brought to court with a J175, which is a summons to attend court. And the prosecutor made it clear that no, he'll arrest when he feels like it. Now, that's contrary to prosecution policy. It's contrary to the rules, and it's contrary to the Constitution, because arrest is the last means to get a person to court. You can summons a person to come to court. Now, why would you arrest a person except, and by the way, there's 2 DPCI judge reports as part of my bundle. And in those DPCI judge reports, the second DPCI judge report, which they took 3 years to investigate, they found, and it's in my statement, they found that the conduct against me was a massive violation of my constitutional rights. And if you look at the letters from the prosecutors, they made it clear that the intention was to arrest at any cost. Okay. So there was clearly a conspiracy to shut down the corruption investigations we were busy with.
Okay. So, Mr. O'Sullivan, you do agree, though, that there's now the special dispensation that is created for you and arguably you alone. What do you intend to do in these 48 hours that you must be given notice before you're arrested?
Prepare bail application so that they can't do what they did last time, which is to drag me off to a police station, tell my lawyers I'm at another police station, and then hide me and put me in a place where they can torture me. And that's what they did for 3 days and nights.
So given that Mr. Ntlemeza, Mr. Pahlane, and all of them are no longer in the system, would you be looking at getting that order revoked? Would you have any objections to having it revoked?
Well, given the conduct of the police right now, I would absolutely object to it. By the way, the police launched an application to set it aside and they lost. Okay. So the reality, and let me explain to you why they lost, Chairman. They lost because they weren't able to prove that their conduct was lawful. So you cannot have police deciding, let's punish this guy by arresting him on a Friday afternoon and keeping him until Monday. And while we keep him, we'll hide him somewhere. No, that's what the apartheid police were doing.
Okay. Mr. O'Sullivan, sorry, my last question. I do apologize. I've run out of time. Will you ever get to a point where you acknowledge, if not admit, you acknowledge that in your interaction with IPID in particular, and I think during the time of Mr. McBride, you would have overstepped what any ordinary citizen investigator is meant to be doing? You were sharing phone numbers, ID numbers, forensic details, all sorts of things that you should not be having, in effectively ingraining yourself within IPID and IPID machinery. Advocate Mashucha contends that that is the reason why you paid for Mr. McBride's legal fees, so that when he gets back, you are embedded within IPID. Do you still maintain that you have not overstepped your the legal framework in which you are meant to operate as far as an investigator is concerned who is outside IPID, because you are not an IPID member?
No, of course I'm not an IPID member, and I never held myself out to be an IPID member, Chairman. And as far as making a contribution to legal fees, I didn't pay the legal fees, I made a contribution. What we had at that time is we had a captured police service, we had a captured prosecution service, and state capture was in full swing. And while
but then did you not then capture IPID?
Pardon me?
Did you then not go and capture IPID?
No, absolutely not. In fact, the reality of the situation is that when I didn't just, by the way, make a donation towards the legal fees of Robert McBride, we also made a donation, and I know they've disputed it, but it's a fact of life, and I've got the proof. We made a donation, I think, of 100,000 rand to the Helen Suzman Foundation. The reality of it is that the only possibility of starting somewhere to uncapture a captured state, I saw we weren't going to get anywhere with trying to uncapture the police. We weren't going to get anywhere with uncapturing the prosecution service. We had an unlawfully appointed head of prosecution service, Sean Abrahams. We had an unlawfully appointed head of the police. We had an unlawfully appointed head of the DPCI. We had an unlawfully suspended head of IPID, and the acting head of IPID was in cahoots with the criminal syndicate that were involved in state capture. So I was quite keen to see Mr. McBride back at work, and hopefully, you know, it was kind of the last chance of trying to do something to save this country from going down the drain. And when I got involved with Mr. McBride, which was at the end or beginning of November 2016, I took that involvement through, by the way, I was overseas for Christmas, but I took that involvement through till probably the end of January. And then I said, I've done enough, I'm stepping back. And that's exactly what happened. And if that's capturing IPID, that is a dream. It's the opinion of the Northwest team and their captured prosecutor. And it's the dream of Mr. Pashlani, and it's the dream of Mr. Kabinde. And if you really want to get to the bottom of things, you must try and work out how all these witnesses miraculously appeared here with this single narrative that actually Paul O'Sullivan is the head of state capture, not all these criminals.
Okay, final question. So what is your relationship now with our law enforcement agencies? Are you still embedded, my word, are you still embedded within the system? And why did you feel the need, all the way from London, I think you were at, I'm not sure, to come out and blast General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi the way that you did after his press conference? I think at some point he even sought to sue you, if I'm not mistaken.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Okay, first thing is your current relationship with law enforcement, and then you went out and you attacked General Mkhwanazi after his 6th July press conference. Why did you feel the need to do that? If I'm not mistaken, and you were not even in the country. He threatened to sue you, the way insults flying left, right, and center. What is it about that triggered you so much that you felt the need to do that? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chairman. Can I answer that?
Write the question down.
Okay.
The time of the...
So,
No.
my problem...
Mr. Apollos.
Pardon?
The time of the member has expired. Write the question down.
Oh. Okay, I'm finished now.
She will write it down. She will remind you later during my time. Now is the time for other members. Her time has expired. The MKP, listen here. It's now 11 o'clock. You are going to share the hour between the three of you. 20 minutes, 20. If you speak for 20 minutes, it's not my problem. So you give each other 20 minutes. 20 past, 22, 11 o'clock. Your time starts now.
Yeah, thanks, Chair.
Chairman, can I just ask something first? Can we put this screen up here? Because I'm not able to turn. I have a spine problem and I cannot turn and look this way. But if we can put a screen up there, I can see the person that's talking, and I can be able to relate to it, but I cannot turn and look over here.
Yeah, the two of them are coming to sit here immediately.
Okay, thank you, Chairman.
Yeah. Yeah, I want you to look at each other in the eye and smile with each other.
Thank you, Chair. Can I proceed? Good morning, Mr. O'Sullivan.
Good morning.
Yeah, let's start from the response that you have given to Honorable Sangoni about the 48-hour notice. If I heard you correctly, you are saying the reason why you must be given a 48-hour notice before you are arrested is because they want to afford you an opportunity to do bail application. Is that what you have said?
Yeah, that's what I said, but it's not just that. It's also to have lawyers on standby, because what the police were doing on a regular basis were attempting to arrest me. They threatened to, while I'm in court, I brought an application, for example, Chairman, to get my passports handed back to me because they refused to give me my passports. They didn't want me to travel overseas. So I had to bring an application in court to get my passports back. And when they handed my passports back, they first of all tried not to hand me my passports back.
Yeah,
They-
no,
they said,
think,
no,
I
but
think,
this is very important
no,
because it's very
but,
important
but,
you understand
but you
the
have
reason
responded
why.
to what I was asking.
Sorry?
So I'm saying you've responded to what I was asking.
Okay.
And I think that is enough. So, that to me means there are laws for Mr. Paul O'Sullivan and laws for other citizens in this country. Because in terms of the process, when a suspect is arrested, he must appear in court within 48 hours to be charged formally, and thereafter is given 7 days while in custody to make bail application. So that means there are different rules or there are different laws for Mr. Paul O'Sullivan in South Africa.
Well, I think the laws are the same for everybody in the country.
No, but there is
Sorry, am I allowed to answer the
yeah,
question,
but if
Chairman,
you can
or am I
quote,
going to be interrupted
if you
while
can
I'm
quote
answering
the law
question?
that says before you are arrested, you must be given a 48-hour notice.
Chairman, there was a High Court application brought in September 2016 as a result of multiple abuses of my constitutional rights. That High Court application was initially opposed by the state, and in November 2016, the state agreed to the order and the High Court order was made. And if they hadn't have breached my constitutional rights, I wouldn't have had the need to bring the High Court application in the first place.
Yeah, that is why I'm saying, because you can't even quote a section. You can't say this judgment was relying on this section, because there is no such. There is no law in South Africa that says before a suspect is arrested, he must be given a 48-hour notice. So that is why I'm saying
makes an order, the High Court makes an order.
That is why I'm saying it means there are laws for Mr. Paul O'Sullivan and laws for the entire citizens of South Africa.
Chairman, that's a statement from the member, but the reality of the situation is the High Court made that order and the state consented to that order. A year later, the police tried to have that order overturned and they failed.
When you were here, we played a video of your interview in which you made certain remarks about members of parliament. And you made an undertaking that you will go to a media to retract those remarks. And you were given a platform in the media to explain what you did here on your previous appearance. Why did you not use that platform to retract what you said about members of parliament?
Chairman, on the way out, the media asked me, and I confirmed it to them then.
What did you confirm to them?
The apology and the retraction. And I don't go on social media and I don't watch TV, so I don't know whether or not they did it. But it was an ENCA reporter put the mic to me. I confirmed the retraction and I confirmed the apology. I complied with the undertaking I gave, Chairman.
You know, Mr. Paul O'Sullivan, I know the chair said he will give us another platform so I'm not going to go into the merits of what transpired at this stage. But I'm very worried about your character. You threaten people with ease. And I get worried when a white person threatens people, black people like this, because you are putting an emphasis to a narrative that there is an apartheid residue in this country. And you are a manifestation of that residue. And as members of parliament, some of us feel badly that this residue even finds expression in a democratic institution such as parliament. We are representatives of the people here. So if we can't protect ourselves against white arrogance, it means our people on the ground are vulnerable. And it means they express the worst, because if it reaches here in parliament, it means what is happening on the ground is worse. When Advocate Mashuka was here yesterday, he read an email that you sent to General Patlane. I'm going to read this email. This email was sent on the 26th of November, 2016. And the author of the email is Mr. Paul O'Sullivan. This is how it reads. This one is just between me, you, and Mr. Patlane. You know you are a corrupt cop. I know you are a corrupt cop. Figgy knows, your wife knows, Yola knows, Henry knows, and soon the whole world will know. When I send you to prison, and you know I will, you should not blame me. Blame yourself for being a dishonest piece of rubbish. I'm going to enjoy putting you away, and when I'm done with you, I'm going after your wife. Then I'm going after Ntlemeza, and then Mokaketi. When I'm going after Ntlego, or then I'm going after Ntlego, then I'm going after the boyfriend of the Ling Ling twins. And whilst I'm going after all of you, I'm going to send Moon to prison. Then your house and assets will go under the hammer, whilst you and your wife are in prison. I will do what I did to Krishi. I will buy it on auction and sell at a profit. Stop me if you can, you low down piece of rubbish. Do you know this email?
Sounds familiar.
Is it appropriate for you to address people like this? General Patlane this time, was he not a commissioner?
He was an acting commissioner.
Yes.
He
now,
was-
now,
Pardon?
Mr.
Sorry,
Mr.
am I not allowed to answer
You
the
are
question?
allowed, but on my guidance.
Okay, so I mustn't answer
You
the
are,
question.
but on my guidance. I'm asking you questions.
No, but,
So you are not
Chairman,
going to prescribe to me how you should answer.
Chairman,
You are
I
allowed,
need-
but on my
I need-
guidance, I'm asking you
I
questions.
need to request.
Or both, switch off your microphones. Yeah.
Yes, the question is one.
Listen to me carefully, please. May you please have a cordial conversation.
Yeah, the conversation on my side is cordial. There's
You
nothing.
know, sometimes it appears rude on my part when I come in and say the time has expired.
No, the
So
conversation is
May
cordial.
you please
Chair, on
use
my
your
side.
time fruitfully.
Mr. Paul
Thank
O'Sullivan,
you.
is it appropriate for you to write this kind of an email to an acting national commissioner?
Given the circumstances at the time, it was more than appropriate. This is in the week when I received a death threat, which we trace back to a police official connected to him, and Mandla Mashlangu received a death threat. He was subsequently murdered. Given the circumstances at the time, it was entirely appropriate, Chairman.
So it's appropriate to you to say to a man you'll go after his wife.
Given the fact that his wife was involved in the corruption with him and had been unlawfully appointed and elevated in rank in the police, and that she was involved. And in fact, Chairman, 3 months or 4 months after that email, he was arrested, she was arrested, and they both sat in the dock together.
It's appropriate for you to say to him, you will buy his house and sell it at a profit.
Why not?
So it's appropriate.
Why not?
It's appropriate for you to threaten a witness while he's testifying here in Parliament.
I didn't threaten any witness. I told the witness he was lying through his teeth and he belonged in prison.
Didn't you send a message to Mr. Kabinde?
I've just said, Chairman.
Is that
I
not a
told-
threat?
Sorry, I can't answer if you're going to keep interrupting.
No,
me.
I'm asking you questions. You will answer because I'm asking. You will
Pardon?
answer. You will answer. You will answer. I'm asking you questions and you will respond.
I'm trying to answer and you interrupting me.
I'm
Chairman.
not
I can't
interrupting
work like
you.
this.
I'm asking you questions.
So what is the question?
Asking is not an interruption. I'm saying to you, is it appropriate for you to send a witness a threatening message while he's testifying here in Parliament?
I didn't send any witness a threatening message. I told him it was an offence to lie, it was an offence to commit perjury, and he belonged in prison. And that is a fact. And he
When
does-
you say you
and
will send a person-
I have not finished answering the question, Chairman. I told him also that I would be opening a docket against him. I have opened that docket against him, and I think the rest of it, we shouldn't be debating in Parliament. We should leave it up to the criminal justice system.
Is it appropriate for you to send messages to a prosecutor who is prosecuting you?
He wasn't prosecuting me.
Well, was he not prosecuting your case?
The case had been struck off the roll.
No. I'm saying during the course of prosecution.
No, I didn't send any messages during the course of
Even
prosecution.
even after,
My-
because when the matter
Sorry,
is
Chairman, I can't work.
No,
where
but
I'm answering a
but
question and it's becoming
but
an
I'm
argument.
contextualizing my
Okay,
question
I'm
to
going
you.
refrain from
I'm
discussion.
saying to you, Mr. Paul O'Sullivan, when a matter is struck off the roll, it can be reinstated. It doesn't mean that that matter cannot be reinstated. Is it appropriate for you to send messages to a prosecutor who is dealing with your case? Mr. Paul O'Sullivan,
Chairman, I'll answer a question if I'm allowed to answer a question.
you are allowed. You are now allowed. You can respond.
You see, I'm being interrupted again.
You are allowed to respond.
Given the circumstances of what was going on at the time, given the criminal conduct of the Northwest team or the Mabula team, whatever you want to call it, and given the circumstances of that prosecutor, what I did, I believe was appropriate. And if it's not appropriate, that was, by the way, 9 years ago. If it's not appropriate, why are we discussing it today?
No, it's because the case is going to be reinstated for as long as we are members of parliament. It will never die a natural death. It was struck off the roll, you were not acquitted. So it will be re-enrolled. Now, if that prosecutor was still working for the NPA, he was going to handle the matter as he was doing before.
Is that a question?
No.
Can I answer?
Yeah, you can answer.
Are you making a statement or
Yes,
asking
I'm
a
making a
question?
statement, but you can respond if you like.
Okay, yes, I will respond. What you've indicated, in my opinion, amounts to prima facie evidence of the fact that certain members of this committee have taken a decision that a case that has no merits whatsoever will be reinstated. That means that those members of the committee that have demanded the reinstatement of that case have failed to read the memorandum by the new National Director of Prosecutions, where he makes it clear that there will be a re-examination of the case. He doesn't say he's going to reinstate the case. And I can assure this committee there is not a cat in hell's chance of that case being reinstated because the case is fake and it's made up by dirty cops and a dishonest prosecutor, and it's going nowhere.
No, it's the court that will make that determination. We are not a court of law.
Well, I'm glad the court will make that decision because just a few moments ago you said you were making that decision.
Yeah, no, we'll make sure, we'll use our oversight powers to make sure that that matter is reinstated.
So that would amount to political interference in the criminal justice system.
No, it means you don't understand the principle of separation of powers and the constitutional mandate of Parliament. But we are not there. You are saying you received a call from somebody who told you that there is a judgment against Mr. Skosana. You know, we're tired of being told that I can't disclose my sources and so on, because it has been a song of the year now. That's what you told us when you appeared. You did not want to disclose many people. You were saying it's confidential and so on. So who called you? Who told you that there's a judgment against Mr. Skosana?
The call came through, Chairman, on a, I don't know how you say it, where you can't see the number. It was a black male. I don't know who the person was. I asked him for his details. He wouldn't give it to me. He told me, do yourself a favor. He gave me the case number, Middelburg High Court. I wrote it down. I got somebody to go to Middelburg High Court and have a look, and they confirmed there was a judgment there against a company. I have the details somewhere of the company, and the company was a close corporation, and the member was allegedly personally liable for the judgment. And
So you were told by a stranger?
it was in the court papers.
No, I'm saying the person who called you.
He only gave me the case number. Shall I give you the case number?
No, we know the case number.
Okay.
The person who told you, we want his particulars.
Well, I don't know how I can get those, but he wouldn't give me his details. We get anonymous calls all the time.
So he
Chairman.
gave you a call?
Pardon?
He gave you a call?
Correct.
Yeah. And then he told you that there's a judgment against Mr. Skosana.
Correct.
Do you have his number, that person?
I just explained, Chairman, the call came through on a, where you can't see the number. So if you do #31# before you make a call, it conceals your number, you can't see it.
Mr. Paul O'Sullivan, generally, do you respect black people?
Absolutely.
But why are you threatening them like this?
Who am I threatening?
Those that I've mentioned to you.
Oh, phone Radovan Kretcher, he's a white person. Ask him if I threatened him. Phone George Michaelides, attorney, who stole 35 million rand from his trust account. Ask him if I threatened him. I threatened them with criminal justice. That's it.
No, I'm saying, why are you doing that? Because you did not only threaten them. It's a few, there are a few of many that you have threatened.
No, I opened cases against them as well, criminal cases.
And no, but you also threatened members of parliament.
Which members of
You
parliament?
threatened us.
How did I threaten you?
You sent an email to the evidence leader.
And what did the threat say? What did I say? I'm going to come and hit
You were telling us that we belong to a party of criminals, and you are going to.
That's not a threat.
You will
That's a
send us.
statement.
You will send us to jail.
I never said I'll send anybody to jail.
No, that's what you said.
No, I didn't.
That's what you said.
I did not.
You said you'll send us to jail.
I'm sorry, Chairman. He's wrong. I never said I'd send him to jail. I said nothing of the kind.
Oh, thank you, Chair. I don't want to eat on my colleagues' time.
Party. Next speaker from the MKP. Your 20 minutes start now.
I'll take less than that, Chair. Bob Sullivan, Sawubona. Sawubona.
Sawubona.
Kunjani?
Kunjani.
Ngiyaphila.
Sorry, I'm a little bit hard of hearing. If I can ask you to speak up a bit.
Ngiyaphila unjani?
Yeah. What can I say?
Sibong. Quick one. You stated somewhere here, you said, if it wasn't for you, Pahlane would walk away with crime. You just said that earlier on.
I said if I hadn't have opened the case against him, he would have got away with it.
So you admit you the one who opened the case.
I've stated it in my affidavit that on the 25th of February 2016, I opened a comprehensive criminal docket against General Pashlani, having spent several months investigating after receiving information from whistleblowers who came forward and provided me with evidence.
So can you, in South African law, open a case against somebody and then be an investigator at the same time?
So, if you are, I've made it clear. If I look at my statement to the Zondo Commission, I make it clear that opening a docket is different if you're the victim of a crime. Now, for example, if somebody breaks into my office and steals my computers, it would be inappropriate for me to do anything more than an internal investigation and then open a docket. When it comes to Forensics for Justice, which was a charity that was formed for the purpose of investigating state-sponsored corruption, I formed a team of people that could investigate and did investigate and provided those resources to the state, because the state is under-resourced
May I
when
interject
it
you?
comes to investigating that type of
May I
crime.
interject you?
Pardon me?
May I interject you? My question is it allowed in South African law to open a case and be the investigator at the same time? The question is it allowed in the South African law?
It happens all the time, Chairman.
No. The question is, did it happen before? Did it happen at, I'm only asking,
Yes,
is it allowed in
it's
the South
allowed.
African law to be an investigator? At
It's
the same time,
allowed.
be the person who opened the case as
It's
a
allowed.
civilian?
Yeah, it's allowed.
No, it's not allowed.
It's allowed.
No, we'll argue that later. That's wrong. The Rodovan Creature's house,
Yeah.
are you staying there?
No.
Did you stay there?
Pardon?
Did you stay there?
Never.
Have you been in that house?
I've been in it.
Doing what?
Having a look.
Just a look.
Had a bride there.
Had a bride there.
Uh-huh.
On what conditions were you having a bride there?
Pardon me?
On what conditions were you having a bride there? Who authorized you to have a bride there in that house?
Well, the owner of the house,
Who's that?
a company.
Whose company is that?
Pardon?
Whose company is that?
It's not my company.
Whose company is it?
I don't
Who's
know.
the owner?
I don't know the name of the owner now.
How were
I
you
believe
invited by a person you don't know?
Pardon?
How were you invited by a person you don't know to a braai?
Sorry, Chairman. I wasn't invited.
You went to
I-
a braai.
Can I finish answering?
Time?
So, I wasn't invited.
Mm.
I got hold of the company that purchased the house,
Yes.
and I can't remember his name. I got hold of the director, and I said, can I come there and have a bride?
Who's that owner?
Pardon?
Who is that owner? How did you get hold of that name?
That person doesn't own the house anymore. It's owned by somebody else.
It's fine. I'm not asking who owns the house now. I'm asking who is that owner?
His name, Anthony Fitzhenry.
Okay. Now, at that time you went to that braai, your life was in danger, right? Is that the reason the braai was private?
What one doesn't like to do is go out in public places when you know that there's
Your
somebody
life is
trying to
threatened.
kill you.
Yes. And at that time, you went to that house invited by a person you don't know. You went to the braai of a house of a person you don't know, but your life was in danger.
No,
Does
it's
it make
not-
sense?
It's not true, Chairman. I'll explain to the member again.
Mm.
I got hold of the owner of the house and I asked him if I could use the house for a braai. I wasn't invited.
Did you
there.
know the business owner?
Pardon?
Did you know the business owner? Were you friends?
I'm sorry, I can't.
Were
hear
you friends with the business owner of the house?
Yeah, yeah.
Now you are friends. You
Yeah.
started by saying you didn't know the house owner, you didn't know the business owner.
We're
Now you
friends.
changed and you are friends.
We're friends now, yeah.
Baba Gahlamang.
Pardon?
No, you're lying.
Pardon?
You're lying.
I lie what?
Your statement, you've got three statements at once. You said you didn't know the business owner. You got a call from a person you don't know.
I got hold of
Suddenly you had a bride there of a house of
Yes,
a person
and
you didn't know.
we became
Did
friends.
you buy that house of Red of Creature?
No,
Is that your house?
no,
Did you buy it indirectly through a company?
no.
If your life is in danger, how would you go to a house of a person you don't know? I say, yeah, leave it. It's fine. I say, yeah, I'm not sure. For never in my now. Tell me this. A makeup artist is shot dead, allegedly, by her boyfriend.
Pardon?
A makeup artist. Facial makeup artist.
Who?
I'll tell you the name later. Let's listen to the story. She is shot dead, allegedly, by her boyfriend. And the policeman covers up that story, allegedly. Right? Keep that in mind, 1. 2, drugs worth 300 million get stolen and lost. A case alleges that a person who is a police officer is involved in that case, and the case gets withdrawn. That's number 2. Are you following? A father loses his son in hospital when a doctor was operating that son. It is alleged that that father goes and says to his friend he has shot that doctor because he lost his son through the hands of that doctor. That's number 3. Are you following?
I'm trying to.
Okay, very, very well. You're doing very well. It is also alleged that cigarette smugglers, cigarette sellers, and all that get cases covered up by the same police officer. Now, the most amazing thing is this. This police officer owns multiple franchise of business, lucrative businesses. But this person remains a senior officer with a very little salary compared to what he's making outside.
Sorry, can I just ask you to slow down a bit, because if you're talking fast, I'm not keeping up. Just the last sentence.
Now, this person is a businessman who owns franchises, lucrative franchises. But he remains a police officer.
Like McDonald's or something like this.
I'll mention the businesses later if I have to. This person remains in the police leadership. But you, as a lover of South Africa, never investigates that person, Farouz Khan. We can't even get the name here in Parliament to get that person to come here and answer for his question. It's apparently he's being covered up and protected. Even by us now, they say we are protecting him. We can't get him here. Why didn't you investigate Farouz Khan, but you went for Patlane, whom you do not have a single evidence of what he has done? Your statement sitting there in front of you doesn't have an ounce of evidence about Mr. Patlane. Why did you leave Farouz Khan out?
Chairman, there's probably 1 million crimes going on in South Africa, and you can ask me the same question, why I didn't investigate them. Let me just put the following to you. Forensics for Justice is a registered non-profit organization, non-profit company, NPC. It has limited resources. If nobody came to us, by the way, with all this talk about the makeup artist.
But you do know Khan, right?
I've met him twice.
You know Sibia, right?
I've met him several times.
Mandla, right?
Who?
Mandla Mahlangu.
Yes.
Mandla Mahlangu has a 7 million rand plot. Has a house in Savannah with a salary of SAPS. Why would a police officer, why would a person who owns so much businesses continue to be a police officer when he can open that space for people in South Africa to get a job, who has multi-millions of businesses, sits there and it doesn't catch your eye? Allegations of 300 million of drugs, that doesn't catch your eye, but Patlane's house catches your eye. 80,000 rand sound catches your attention. Aye, Bob Sullivan. You are silent.
Sorry, Chairman, is that a question?
It is a question. I'm just curious on how do you pick who to attack?
Pardon?
How do you pick? How do you identify who to attack? Why would you leave Mandla? Why would you leave Farouz Khan out and just go strictly for this person, Upatlan, for 80,000 rand, for a sound system that has proof of payment? Your statement doesn't even have one single evidence of Patlane. I'm even thinking that Patlane was this dismissal of his is also something that we need to look at. Uyangizwa yazi. Uyangizwa ngempela. Akasezwa mase khuluma mina manje.
Okay.
No, I will end here, Chair. Look, she's cut for
So-
Thank you, thank you.
So the reality of the situation, Chairman, it's not a case of what catches my eye. If somebody come to us and gives us information that, in this case, it was a Brigadier Munsami in the police who came to us and explained to us in some detail about how he believed there was corruption going on with General Pashlani. As far as you mentioned Feroz Khan, I had a tip-off about Feroz Khan. And when I investigate that tip-off, I found that the tip-off was false. So I called, I didn't tell Feroz Khan who the tip-off came from, but I called Feroz Khan and I sat him down and I explained what the tip-off was, and he gave me and that was like 5 or 6, maybe more years ago, and that was the last time I saw him. Now, at the end of the day, we can't just say, oh, something catches our eye, so we must go and investigate it. We're not the state. We're a charity. And we don't have limitless resources that we can run around
But Mr. Sullivan,
and do all these things. When in fact, when somebody comes to us with prima facie evidence,
Mara
we
Bob
then
Sullivan,
have
kahle
the
kancane,
ability
kahle
to
kancane,
investigate something,
Kahle
and we
kancane,
investigate
kahle
it. I don't know what he's saying.
I'm
We
saying,
invest-
you must know our South African language. You've been here for 40 years. You must know simple things. You say you love South Africa, right? Wait. It doesn't make sense that Mr. Pashlani has paid for that sound system and has proof, but you continued with the case. But you're saying with Farouz Khan, you got a tip off and you just let it go just like that.
No. In fact, unfortunately, you've completely misinterpreted the statement, which is included in my bundle.
What evidence does your statement have on Pashlani? Just one evidence.
You know, Chairman, I can't
But I'm
finish
only
one
asking, while you are,
question
I'm
before I
just
get
talking on top
another
of you. You
question.
can answer. You hear me?
I cannot answer one question.
Oh, lo,
Or while I'm
lo.
answering
Lo
it,
mkhulu
I get
ipantsula la.
another
Yabona wena
question.
ungikhumbuza.
So the
Wena
reality of the
ungikhumbuza labantu abathi
situation,
amapoko amathamaga.
the reality of the situation,
Ungikhumbuza nje amapoko
the
amathamaga.
reality of the
Angifuni ukutshela ama.
situation is that
Nkosana, thatha umngane wakho.
the evidence in the Pashlani case that we investigated, the sound system was less than 1% of the complaint. In fact, as far as the sound system was concerned, we weren't interested in the purchase of the sound system. We were interested in the fact that a contractor of the police installed the sound system. In other words, a police supplier went to his house and installed the equipment in his house, and he didn't pay for that installation. The other part of our complaint was
But
that
if
he
it was
built a
important,
house.
why did
at
you go
somewhere
and look for
between
proof of
4
payment for the
and
sound?
5 million rand.
Babu Paul, why did you go and look
That
for
he built
proof
a
of
house
payment
for-
if it wasn't important, Babu Paul? Ngicela impendulo just simple. Mkhulu,
I don't know what the
uyevenini
question
wena. Uhlala
is.
ekoneni evenini lapha ekoneni so.
So I can just get a
Mr.
question.
Chair, I'm
Chairman.
grateful, thank you. This, lo baba lo, akanaliqiniso. I'm sorry to say that.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Firstly, Chair, I just want to start by saying I want to give evidence of the allegation made against me in the precinct of Parliament that I'm running away from the bank. I must go and pay my debt. Can you please, Ramano, give him the proof of payment which was paid last year, the issue which he's talking about. And I want him to apologize and retract for us to have a conversation because he misled this country. Because that issue which he's talking about, that judgment we are talking about is here. And the company name is Landiwe Security and Projects. I even paid, no, because they're going to take screenshots. Hence, I want to give him. I don't want this thing to be going all over. No, you must be himself who said that. It should not be me. That was a judgment. That was the payment. So you've misled the person who called you, whoever he is, misled you. The payment, total payment is 642,000.
No, thanks, Chair. I don't know which part of our investigation this one falls under, where a member of the committee produces evidence. I thought it should be the other way around, because we shouldn't create a wrong precedence of the committees to follow where things are done like we're in a schoolyard, school kids accusing each other of this and that and having to prove to each other about this or that. I think just saying the allegation was a lie and so on and so forth is sufficient than to produce evidence to a witness about personal matters. And even as that this should not be published and tomorrow we're going to see it out there, we will not know how it got out there. But the fact that it passed through this passage, it will also have implications on us. Thanks.
That is a valid point, Honorable Malema. I think you wanted the witness to know that you, as he instructed you last time, that you must go and pay your debts. You want him to know that you have paid. You are in good standing.
Thank you, Chair. Like everyone in the country who run big business, you will understand that. But what I'm saying is that misleading this parliament was completely out of line. So I just want him to retract that. Thank you.
Yeah. Mr. Paulo Sullivan, do you see the proof of payments? Switch off your microphone, Jali. Do you see the proof of payments by...
Chairman, what I see is I see some documents which are a bit fuzzy, but it appears to be proofs of payment.
Yeah.
I also see a document which says judgment by default, 25th of September 2025.
Yes, what we are saying is that you must not read that because it's personal and confidential.
Okay.
It's for your perusal.
Okay.
But what he says is that once you have seen that and satisfied yourself that he is indeed in good standing, because he has his own personal reputation to protect and the juristic person that he represents.
First of all, Chairman, I didn't...
And that your statements have gone viral.
Yeah. Well, if they went viral, Chairman, it's because the member in question recused himself from Parliament, followed me out...
I don't want to make that a point of debate now.
Okay.
If you listen to what Honorable Malema said, let's not bring what does not belong here into our proceedings. I want him to ask you questions and then at the end, when you have gone through that and satisfied yourself, in whatever platform, if you agree to go out with a ENCA and that order of journalists which followed you on Thursday last week, I can arrange for you outside.
It's not going to happen, Chair. If the member...
No. It's not a point we're going to debate now.
Okay.
Now I want him to, you and him to have a conversation on our terms of reference. Thank you.
I'm not surprised. The arrogancy is on a high level, and I can tell you now, we are dealing with a wrong honorable member, maybe. Maybe in the last administration, people used to dance for your tune. I'm not going to do that. You've seen the proof of payment. If you doubt it, because in the precinct of Parliament, that's what you said here, and you say you are not going to retract what you said, even if you have the proof of payment. That tells me that even before you came in here, you instigated all of us because you are calling us crooks. And I can tell you, Mr. Sullivan, that we've been tolerating this white supremacy for many years in this country. And, you know, some of us, you said you've been threatened. I'm just making a remark, Chair. You've been threatened many times that they want to murder you. You know, they want to arrest you. Some of us were arrested multiple times. You know, we've been kept under state of emergency for many years. In fact, my friend, two of my friends passed on. Ephraim Mukhale passed on. We didn't even know the remainings of George Shabangu, our friend who passed on. We are only arrested 10 times. We are making a fuse up about it. Some families, we are still missing some of our friends in the struggle. But let me start by saying to you now, I'm going to question you. Because we've been threatening prosecutors, generals. Now, let's start here. On the knowledge allegation of these syndicates we are talking about, you stated that you have no knowledge of the allegation made by Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi regarding a criminal syndicate infiltrating law enforcement structures. Given your extensive involvement in investigations relating to senior SAPS official, can you explain why would you have no knowledge whatsoever of the alleged network or individuals identified in those allegations?
Chairman, it's like asking somebody why they don't know about this or why they don't know about that. The reality of the situation is that until I heard the mention of the name Kat Matlala, I'd never heard of this person before. I had no knowledge other than what I'd read in the media about his involvement or alleged involvement with some extraction system or scheme. It wasn't a matter we were investigating. We had no knowledge of the inner details of that system. What I did, however, have knowledge of was Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi's involvement in trying to unlawfully pervert the course of justice when it came to the IPID investigation in respect of General Pashlani. And evidence has already been led. And I suggested in one of my earlier emails to this committee that the committee should in fact call Humbelani Kumbbe, who is a senior IPID investigator, and let him explain to this committee how it was that he came to meet General Mkhwanazi in 2017 and be escorted into a hotel room. Escorted into a hotel room.
Chair, please, I need your indulgence,
taken away from them, and then to be told that he needs to come over, like Cedric and Kabinde has done, and become a witness against IPID because they want to stop the Pashlani investigation.
Chair, can you please help me? The last time I've asked again, because we are not on a lecturing room here. The question is simple. If that's the case, have you opened a case against General Mkhwanazi? Yes or no?
A case was opened way back
against General Mkhwanazi.
Against all the people.
No, I'm talking General Mkhwanazi. Leave the other people.
The case wasn't just against.
No, I'm talking about General Mkhwanazi. I don't talk about Kumbbe. I'm not talking about any other person. My question is simple. Have you opened a case against General Mkhwanazi?
Correct.
Thank you. Now, there's perception that, in fact, you have done that. You stated that it was made clear and unambiguous that you, Mr. O'Sullivan, you are not a member of the IPID. Can you explain how that distinction was communicated to a witness at Sable Hills and whether any written disclosure or identification was provided to avoid the perception that you were acting as an investigator with an official authority? Honorable Nomvalo asked you earlier about that you are a complainant and an investigator. How so?
So what's the question?
No, don't do
No, I'm
that
having
to
a
me.
problem because I'm getting a multiplicity.
No,
What is
it's
the
one.
actual question?
It's one question. You just delaying my time. That you impersonated yourself as an IP official.
Okay, so this question, Chairman, has been answered. In my affidavit,
Can you answer me now?
I'm going to read from the affidavit.
No, don't read. Answer me, because I have the affidavit. I've read that. I just want an
don't
answer
have
from
this
you.
affidavit. This is the affidavit I provided to the Zondo Commission.
No,
on the 19th of October.
I don't want a Zondo commission here. I'm asking you.
And the point I'm pointing out here, and I'm referring to the.
But please don't take me to Zondo commission. That fast.
I'm referring to the affidavit of Michael Mashucha to the Zondo Commission, and I refer to it with the headline, Lie to, O'Sullivan expressly held himself out as an IPID investigator. And I stated under oath, this lie is easy to prove. One only has to have regard to the transcripts of the meeting with Jooste, that was Mr. Chris Jooste. It is clear from the transcripts that despite the lies peddled by the Mabula squad and Mashucha, I at no point introduced myself as being from IPID, let alone expressly held myself out to be from IPID, as Mashucha fraudulently claims. How does Mashucha then contrast the exculpatory evidence
Chair,
emails I had with Jooste on 2016?
Mr. O'Sullivan, I've got that. I'm saying to you, please, if Zondo Commission calls you again, please go and explain to them. I'm asking you here, as a member of this ad hoc committee. My question was very simple. If you don't want to answer, it is fine. But reading that is not going to take us anywhere. Now, I'm going to ask you again. Your interference of evidence in your WhatsApp messages, in annexure, the CCTV photos, are not important and cannot remove it from the statement. Who gave you the instruction on what authority was the evidence allegedly removed? You remember the story about the CCTV one at the Sable Hills.
I don't understand.
Okay, let me lead you. In the email which you wrote, 26 December 2016, you said, like Honorable Nombalo said, you'll bring Mono and yourself to prison. You were threatening Patlane as well, and you're threatening Advocate Mashucha. Can you confirm whether this communication was received and whether it was reported to the authorities?
Which communication?
I'm saying to you, you know, there's attachments here of emails. Are you denying those emails?
I can't see these emails. I don't have them in front of me.
You don't have those emails. Evidence leader, he says he doesn't have those are attachments which Advocate Mashucha gave us yesterday. You'll make them available. In the same correspondence, you warned that your wife and associate will be targeted next. That's what you responded when Honorable Nomvalo asked you. I'm making a follow-up now. Did you interpret this as an intimidation or aiming at influencing the investigation on your conduct?
No, definitely not.
Why were you threatening them?
As I explained before, given the criminal conduct of both the Mabula team and Michael Mashucha, it was appropriate to take steps to notify them that I wasn't going to tolerate their nonsense.
Now, the rubbish which you spoke about here last week, you were saying that there's rubbish when we are asking you, and you call us names. I'm going back to where I said the CCTV issues, because there was a removal or exclusion on CCTV evidence formally recorded in the investigation file. And my question, and who authorized it? did any investigator or official attempt to alter witness statement or evidentiality material relating to the CCTV footage? Or you don't know anything about the issue of CCTV?
Yes, in fact, that was also covered in my statement to the Zondo Commission, where Mr. Jooste was sent a draft statement. And when he wanted to sign the statement, he asked if he could remove from the statement the reference to the CCTV footage which he had given to Pashlani. And Mandla Mashlangu, who was present, he said to Mr. Jooste, you may remove it from the statement. So it wasn't anything to do with me at all.
Chair, just before, because I've got 9 minutes now to go, I want us to play a video because we have a dishonest criminal fraudster with a so-called forensic for justice. There's not justice at all. That so-called forensic for justice, for me, is forensic for fraud. Okay, can you please play that clip?
Microphone. You see, what we will not accept here is both of you, Mr. Apollo Sullivan and Honorable Skosan, if you are going to use those words, criminals and fraudsters, to describe witnesses before us here, that cannot be accepted. We are probing allegations, and both of you must refrain from using those words to describe any person coming before us or to describe any person against whom allegations have been made.
Yeah, but Chair, those words were used by some of the honorable members from the DA, and it was not an issue. They were never called that they must stop that. I can play them for you if you want to, unless it's exclusive.
I'm astonished that he's saying what's your name?
No, it's fine. It's that clip. Now, Chair, as I said earlier, I agree with the former.
Just one moment. Honorable Malem.
No, I wanted to come in before Honorable Skosana comes in. those remarks Skosana is making are not meant for black witnesses only. It was said to Kat Matlala, and we all allowed it. We all did. And no one, not a single one of us, raised an objection. And for me, it's not a conclusion necessarily. If Honorable Skosana says you are a fraud, you are a thief, you are what, it's a statement that is put to the witness who can rightfully so dispute and say, no, I don't agree with that statement. And we proceed like we did. I mean, Matala was called all sorts of names, and he said, I'm not any of the things you are saying. And we all proceeded. It's on record. So it shouldn't be that Paul or anyone else comes here and he gets to be treated differently because he calls people crooks, he calls people all manner of names. And he must be made to test his own medicine. Thanks, Chair.
No, this is what I'm saying. I was addressing both speakers, both himself and Honorable Skosana, because Mr. Paul O'Sullivan has repeatedly, orally and in messages that he allegedly sent to people who appeared before us as witnesses, have called them as such. And even in today's proceedings, he repeatedly made those claims that people are criminals. When Honorable Nomvalo was asking him, why did you do that? Why do you think you have the authority to do this, to do that? He tried to give a context that criminals were trying to do this and that, and I did not have a choice but to do that. And that's exactly, I want him, in particular, and Honorable Skosana, to know that as a committee, we have not reached a stage where we are convinced or we have assessed evidence to say somebody is a criminal or is involved in criminal activities. We are still probing, and I just wanted to put that message across, including you, Mr. Paul O'Sullivan. Can you proceed, Honorable Skosana, to ask questions?
Yeah, but Chair, Honorable Malema is correct. Those words were used. But there was no, you never said anything when those words were used. But be that as it may, I'll continue.
So
Mr. O'Sullivan.
You think I'm protecting him?
Yeah, that's my feeling, Chair. You know,
Okay,
that's my feeling.
Let me tell him here in your presence, Mr. Paul Robert O'Sullivan, I'm not protecting you.
Thank you, Chair.
Now, I just wanted to ask you, did you assisted your partner, Sarah Jane Trent, to lay a charge blaming Duduzile Zuma for the unrest caused by her father's detention without trial by Judge Kabinde and other judges? Did you help Sarah?
To make a case against who?
Duduzile Zuma, Sambo.
Sam Butler.
Yes.
Zuma Sam Butler.
Yes.
It was quite a few years ago. I think it was 2021. And I believe that I sent a complaint to the National Director of Public Prosecutions consisting of a sworn statement.
Chair, sorry, Chair. Did you help him or not?
Her.
Yeah, did you? Yes, your partner, Sarah Jane Trent.
I think I may have done.
Yeah, you've done that. Not that you think you've done that. Yeah. But be that as it may, you've been saying that you are opening dockets against people. How do you open dockets if you are not a policeman? Only a policeman can open a docket.
I'm sorry, Chair, but the gentleman's understanding for the law is factually incorrect.
I know, I'm asking about the docket. How do you open it? Because you are not a policeman.
You go to the police station.
And open what? A docket.
All the documentation and you
submit. No, I'm talking about a docket. You said you are opening dockets.
Correct.
You can go and open a case, not a docket. It's only a policeman who can open a docket, Mr. O'Sullivan.
They register the docket.
No.
On the system, on the CAS system.
I'm saying Unfortunately, you've been playing with our justice system in this country. You are law unto yourself. And this must stop. And we are going to open a case against you.
Well, I'm happy for you to do that.
You know, and I can tell you now, it's not a threat. You know, it's our duty as members of this ad hoc committee not to allow anyone, including you, and even this case of you having the so-called 48-hour notice. We'll make sure on that. There's no citizen. It's only you in this country who has that. No one else. We are not that special. But thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much. We are going to take the following 4 speakers and then break. They will come in this order: Honorable Chopper, Honorable Malema, Honorable Mattheys, and Honorable Bangazita. Let me acknowledge the presence of Honorable Ndamase. Honorable Ndamase, good morning to you. Every time we wanted to acknowledge you in our proceedings, you disappeared. Today we caught you. There is no way you can escape. Thank you so much.
Not limited to Advocate Mashuga. And Mr. O'Sullivan makes it extremely difficult for this committee to ascertain what is true and what is factual, considering that we don't have a forensic investigator at our disposal. When Honorable Mola asked about Critch's house today, you denied buying the house. Let me pose it to you differently, Mr. O'Sullivan. Did you buy the house in an auction?
So I bid at the auction for somebody else. So, yes.
And
in
you
that-
put it,
but
and you
I-
put that same house in the market in January.
No, I didn't put the house on the market. The owner of the house put the house on the market.
So you were bidding in the case.
Pardon me?
So you were just bidding in the case. You were not using your own money. It wasn't for yourself or any other business that you own.
That's correct.
My opinion and your view, sir, is somewhat split, considering your conduct statements and your evidence. Firstly, I have respect for you, for your age and your experience, and it comes with a lifetime of work. Few people reach a stage in life where they've spent so many years involved in matters of justice and crime. And I think that in itself, Mr. O'Sullivan, does deserve acknowledgement. But where I do find myself in conflict is when I read some of the words you have chosen to write, and it has already been spoken on today, and subsequently threaten people who have appeared as witnesses and who have also testified before this committee. Some of the emails that were placed in front of us are just plainly rude, and they're threatening. They do not resemble what I would expect from a routine professional engagement. And while I appreciate your defense to bullying, as that is your view, sir, it is still no way to conduct yourself, especially when speaking to the NPA, who were prosecuting. And because your threats may be construed as interference with the independence of the NPA. If you had to threaten the evidence leaders and the members of this ad hoc committee in a similar manner, I'm sure you do not believe that this House would allow it. At the same time, what is also clear, and it is consistent, that you have pursued corruption with determination. I think you have said so almost in every email that you have sent. So your effort is also not undeniable. However, it becomes difficult when the same pursuit of justice is accompanied by language that undermines your own credibility. And so when emails cross the line into threats and personal attacks on one's family, it risks bringing your own reputation into disrepute. And that is something, Mr. O'Sullivan, I cannot agree with you. Now, I will say this, it is entirely possible that many of the things you say, the suspicions and the allegations that you raise in those emails, do maybe contain truth. It's not for me to judge whether the person is guilty or not. However, they might contain truth. And it may be very evident that what you wrote about some of those individuals, that they are indeed hiding something, which in my opinion is something that I believe. And if that is the case, it should not come at the expense of your improper conduct and decorum over the years in the emails, in this house. And perhaps it's part of the environment that you've worked, that you need to appear to be tough. But there's a very short distance, Mr. O'Sullivan, between demonstrating toughness and becoming unnecessarily rude, or overreaching the limits of what one is permitted to do. And I think that is a fact that binds everybody in this room, as we are all bound by the same rules and regulations. Being direct is necessary, Mr. O'Sullivan. But by being direct can quickly become threatening. And being firm can quickly become attacking. Mr. O'Sullivan, you are entering a stage in your life where many of us are taught, and I'm sure many of us in this room will agree, that a person deserves a measure of respect simply for the years that they have lived and experiences they have gained. I've also seen that some people here have spoken to you with extreme disrespect. There has been name-calling, insults, and comments that are plain defamatory. And in my view, Mr. O'Sullivan, it's also morally wrong and completely indefensible. At the end of the day, sir, you are also somebody's father, you are someone's brother, friend, maybe you have grandchildren. But with equal respect, sir, when one speaks to others in the same harsh manner that we have seen in some of your emails, it becomes difficult to separate the two. You have in many instances been on both sides of the fence. You have dished out, Mr. O'Sullivan, and now you have also received. I have no doubt that, like many people in this room, that are passionate about removing corruption from our institutions, the goal is shared by many of us. But there are rules to be followed, Mr. O'Sullivan. And there are standards of conduct that must be maintained. Passion for justice cannot replace discipline in your behavior, in the language you choose to use, and how you approach people. And that is the balance I struggle with when I look at your evidence before this committee. You find corruption and wrongdoing on one hand, but then on the other, you front as a white man, and those were your words, sir, to access places like Sable Hills, and you take pictures of people's houses, and you question and interview people. And unfortunately, Mr. O'Sullivan, it is a fact that I battle to reconcile. But I thank you for coming back to this committee, despite all the issues and the medical issues and so forth. And I thank you for your time. Thank you, Mr. O'Sullivan.
May I respond?
Yes, Mr. O'Sullivan, you can make few remarks in respect of what Honorable Klopper was saying.
Yeah, obviously with the benefit of hindsight, it's very easy to change it's not easy to change history. When you're fighting evil, sometimes you have to put on a cloak to make yourself look a lot tougher than you are. Especially when you've got problems with people trying to murder you, people trying to arrest you falsely, people sending out somebody to kill your family because they can't get to you. So you have to, unfortunately, fight fire with fire. And whilst I regret that some of the males may be seeming to be threatening or rude. Sometimes it's necessary to bring the battle to them that will leave no stone unturned to shut you down and put you in prison and drag you off planes, assault you in front of your children, raid your offices on multiple occasions, and have prosecutors that magically whip up arrest warrants within 3 weeks of a fake docket being opened. So, yes, it may look like they were rude and insulting. And sadly, I have to admit they were intended to be rude and insulting, because I wanted to bring the fight to them and show them that I'm not going to be a walkover. And unfortunately, sometimes they will just show you what they've got there. But what they won't show you is how they have connived behind your back to pull off the things that they pulled off, which included dragging you off at 220 kilometers an hour with handcuffs on so tight behind your back that you can hardly move, and putting you in a cell with raw sewage running across the floor. And when somebody comes to bring you food and comfort items, the other 17 members in the cell share it out amongst themselves. It leaves you knowing that if you don't fight hard, you're going to lose. And unfortunately, unfortunately, it was necessary to take those steps. And if I had to do it all again, I might have done it slightly differently. I probably would have done. But the benefit of hindsight is that I realized that if I didn't fight hard, I would be dead, or my family would be dead. I had to move my family overseas for their own protection. And I apologize for being rude and taking the fight to them. But I realized that if I didn't, they would have beaten me and they would have got away with what they were doing. And it wasn't done for any other reason than to demonstrate to them that I wasn't going to be walked over. I wanted them to be aware of the fact that I was onto them. So, yeah, thank you for that.
Are you done, Honorable Tlhopha?
I am, thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you so much. Honorable Malim. Okay, Honorable Mathies, your time starts now. 20 minutes.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning, Mr. O'Sullivan.
It's until 12:33.
Sorry, Chair?
Until 12:33.
Mr. O'Sullivan, Honorable Shongwe asked you if you owned the Creature's house, and you said that you don't, and it's owned by a company. Is the director that you were speaking about Anthony Fitzhenry?
That's correct, Chairman.
Okay. Is he your business partner?
He's a friend and a business partner.
Okay. And did he resign from Forensic for Justice in 2016?
Pardon me?
Did he resign from Forensic for Justice around July 2016?
I can't remember.
But he resigned at some point. He was.
I don't know if he was a director of Forensics for Justice.
Okay. Is that because the two of you have a few directorships together in some companies, one of them called St. Helena Corporation?
That's correct. I sold him that company.
Okay. And then are you a director of a company also called Trade Winds Corporation with Anthony?
That's correct. That's
Okay.
a public company based in London.
Okay. And this is the one who holds the mortgage for your house?
No,
No?
there's no mortgage on my house.
Did it ever hold a mortgage for your house?
I'm trying to remember the year, but I think at one stage, yes, that's correct.
Okay. And it also holds the mortgage for the Creche house?
There's no mortgage on the Creche house. It was paid.
Did it at some point hold the mortgage for the Creche house?
Never.
Never, okay. I just want to go to the charge sheet. And on page 31, advocate that was here, the former senior prosecutor in your 2017 case, he told the committee yesterday that you went to the Staple Hills waterfront estate with the IPID officers and that you took photographs of General Pachlani's home. Did you do that?
I
Did
took
you-
photographs of what?
Of General Pachlani's home, when you
No,
went?
I
you-
took Google Earth photographs
Okay.
in the previous year. I never took photographs of the house when I
So-
went there. In fact, I included that photograph in the docket that I opened.
Okay.
And I took that photograph in 2015.
Okay. So you didn't take any pictures inside the home and sent it through to the IPID investigators. So there's no, we won't find any evidence later or any information rather, Mr. O'Sullivan, that will confirm that you took pictures and then you sent it to the IPID investigators.
Took pictures of what?
Inside Lieutenant General Pachlani's home.
I've never
when you
been.
went.
I've never been inside the house in question.
Okay.
Never been there.
Okay, the affidavit you refer to quite regularly here to the Zondo Commission, in paragraph 31, you state you state there was an internal confidential memorandum, right, within the NPA. And this was in relation to the senior prosecutor that was prosecuting your case. And it was regarding the arrest of Sarah Jane Trent that involved the kidnapping and that a phone was stolen. Can you confirm that you received this memorandum from the authors? Or how did you get a copy of an internal memorandum from the NPA?
The docket that we had opened, I had opened the docket for kidnap and contempt of court, and Sarah Jane Trent had opened the docket for kidnap and theft of her cell phone and intimidation. And these dockets were unlawfully removed from the prosecutors. And I can't remember the lady's name now, but the lady in question supplied me with a copy of the letter saying, listen, it's out of our hands. We have sent this docket to, I think it went to Sean Abrahams or somebody else, I don't know.
Okay. Okay, so the question here was there was an internal confidential memorandum.
Yes.
I'm asking about that because you refer to it in page 34 of your affidavit to the Zondo Commission. How did you get that internal memorandum?
Sure. I can't remember now. We're talking about 10 years ago.
So do you know who the authors were?
I can't remember their names. There were two deputy directors of prosecution.
No, the authors of that internal memorandum.
I'd have to look at my statement to find their names, but I believe there were two deputy directors of public prosecution in Pretoria.
Okay. Well, do you know if they were members of AfriForum?
I haven't a clue.
Okay. We're going to talk about the Barkhuizen matter. Do you remember? Do you recall that? In 2015, did the family request or did you assist the family?
Oh, I can't remember the lady's name. Mrs. Barkhuizen was murdered.
Mm-hmm. And her husband, George Barkhuizen, was initially convicted of her murder. Were you involved in the investigation?
In fact, the family came to us.
Mm?
They came to, it was a pro bono case, so the family didn't have any money.
Mm-hmm.
And their complaint was that Mrs. Barkhuizen had been murdered. And when we carried out the initial investigation, we were able to secure video evidence, and we supplied that to the police, to the investigating officer.
Mm.
And then Mr. Barkhuizen had appointed an attorney. I asked the attorney if he would be prepared to meet with me to clear the air, and he agreed to meet with me and one of my colleagues, Melissa Naidu, and I suggested to his attorney that the police should be present in case they would have questions as well. And we sat in a plus minus 3-hour meeting. And at the end of the 3-hour meeting, the police decided to arrest him for the murder, and he was charged.
Okay.
And when the matter went to the High Court, I was subpoenaed as a witness. So too was Melissa Naidu. And we gave evidence. And at the end of the High Court trial, he was convicted. I can't remember. I think he got life in prison. And he took it on appeal about 2 years later. And I believe the appeal court overturned his conviction.
Okay. So you were, from what you've just explained, that you were working with the police in this investigation?
So any investigation you do, especially a murder, you have to work with the police. You can't carry out the investigation on your own. So what we did,
So
we carried out our own investigations, and the information that we obtained, we supplied it to the police. So we didn't investigate with the police. We carried out our own investigations, and we were able, for example, I got 25 volunteers, and we searched the whole, area of ground near the house where the murder took place. And we did more than that. We knocked on the doors. The police didn't have the resources. We knocked on the doors of every single house in the street where the murder took place to see if anybody heard or saw anything. And we were able to get some video footage
I
from
think
one
you
of
said that, okay.
one of the houses, which was then handed over to the police.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sullivan. So on that case, you confirming that you were present at the Oakdean offices when I think it's Wademan, who was the investigator, conducted the search. And you conducted the search with her on around the 3rd of July, 2015?
Yeah.
Do you remember?
I don't think we carried out. I think the police carried out the search. We didn't.
You weren't there?
I don't recall being there when the police carried out any search.
I want to go to the actual, the George who was convicted, and he took the matter on appeal, and it was overturned. The judgment is 8 pages, and the judgment, the judges make quite scathing remarks that the primary witness, his initial statement was changed, and he also refers to the private investigator. You don't remember any of that?
I have no knowledge of that. I think there was another private investigator involved. The family involved another person.
But they also summoned you in the primary investigation. So you're saying that after...
To the trial?
Yeah, so
yes,
during
I believe
the trial...
the other person was summoned as well. Oh, not summoned, subpoenaed.
Okay, so you were summoned to the trial.
No, I wasn't summoned. I was subpoenaed.
Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon. You were subpoenaed to the trial.
Mm-hmm.
There was also, to your knowledge, another private investigator that was subpoenaed to the trial.
I think there was a lot of people subpoenaed to the trial.
No, I'm asking about a private investigator because
yes,
the judgment...
I believe that I believe there was another, I don't know who his name was. I believe there was another private investigator that the family went to.
So the family wouldn't have told you that they have you, because if they didn't have money, how would they have gotten 2 private investigators?
I believe they got, so we didn't do it as a private investigator. We did it as a pro bono case through Forensics for Justice. The reality of the situation is they'd been to somebody else. They had paid that person money, and I don't know what happened there, but apparently they hadn't got any results. I don't know what happened.
Okay, so there were 2 private investigators, yourself and somebody else who you don't know, but you continued investigating.
Just to clarify, we weren't private investigators. We carried out a forensic investigation.
Okay. No problem. So you're saying that the High Court judgment, where it talks about specifically about the private investigator who was with the colonel who was investigating, and they got the primary witness to change their statement, was not referring to you.
Definitely not. I never got any witness to change any statement. I wouldn't do that. That would amount to defeating the ends of justice.
But I'm just saying this judgment says that, but you disputing that the three judges who made this call, and quite scathing remarks, which will make the judgment available, was not referring to you as the private investigator, because you only...
I haven't seen the judgment.
Okay, we can make that available. I'm just asking, but
Yeah.
now it's only after when I brought this up, you said that there was another private investigator.
I think we knew all along that there was another private investigator, and it was in the media that there was another private investigator. But I can't remember. We're talking about more than 10 years ago.
No
I can't
problem.
remember.
I
That
would have
person's
just thought
name.
you would have said that when I asked initially that you did the work pro bono, but the family had already paid for another private
Well,
investigator.
you didn't ask me that.
No, I didn't, but you mentioned it when I brought up the court judgment. But no, we can move on. That it's not a big deal. We can get clarity from the court as well on which private investigator they were referring to in that judgment. Are you registered with the Private Security Industry Regulating Authority?
I am, yes.
Okay, which company? How many companies are registered there? Because we couldn't find details.
It's there on the register.
I beg your pardon?
It's there on the register. I'll call it up
Oh,
now
okay.
if you want.
And then there's a code of conduct. Are you familiar with it for those that are registered or private practitioners, private security practitioners?
So if I can explain to you, the Private Security Industry Regulatory Authority, my registration dates back to the 90s, and I've just kept the registration going, but I actually don't perform any security work. So I'm not even obliged to be registered.
So who regulates your work as a forensic investigator?
The Association of Certified Fraud Examiners.
Okay.
And there's a code of conduct.
Is that in South Africa?
Correct.
Okay. Let's talk about the PPP investigation you did for the ANC.
The what investigation?
The COVID-19 PPE matter involving the 125 million rand.
Yeah, we didn't do the investigation for the ANC.
Who did you do it for?
I can't remember the gentleman's name.
Was he an ANC member? Was he the
I think he
MEC
was
of Health?
That's it, MEC of Health in Gauteng. He approached us.
But he is the ANC, okay, yeah?
Yes, but we did the investigation for him in his personal capacity.
Oh, in his personal capacity?
Correct.
Because he was charged?
Pardon?
Or did you do the investigation for him because he was charged for corruption in the scandal, or how did it come about?
No, he wasn't charged with corruption.
Mm-hmm.
The allegation was that he had allowed, if I recall correctly, that he had allowed employees within the Department of Health in Gauteng. And he asked us to do the investigation personally, so it wasn't done for the ANC and it wasn't done for the Department of Health. And our investigation identified the individuals within the Department of Health. And we then handed that investigation to him, which he then went and gave to the police.
Okay, and the Dr. Bandile Masuku, is that the name?
That sounds familiar.
How did he find out about you, or how, do you know? Did he approach you?
I don't know. We have a website and we have a telephone number, and he asked for a meeting, and he signed the mandate, and we carried out the investigation. It wasn't a long investigation. We interviewed, I think, maybe 2, 3, 4 people, and then we drew up a report and we gave it to him.
Do you know what happened to the report?
I haven't a clue.
Do you know if anybody was cleared? Did the ANC use that in its integrity committee? You don't know anything, you just submitted it to him.
I haven't a clue. We gave him the report, and I understand he went and opened a criminal docket against the members of the employees. And I think the one was the chief finance officer, if I recall. I can't remember her name. And another one was a procurement officer, and that they had rigged the procurement process to acquire. I'm not sure if it was masks or something else.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So it were the staff members or those working in the department that you found were involved in the PPE, and you cleared any politicians of any criminal doing? Or did you identify any politicians
So
in your report?
One thing we never do is we never issue a certificate of cleanliness. And the reason for that is if you issue a certificate of cleanliness and it's later found out to be wrong, what we did say, I think, in the report is these are the people we've identified, and we explained the reasons why. And then I think, and again, I don't have the report in front of me, but I think we may have said we found no evidence implicating, and we listed the people that we could find no evidence. But that's not a report of cleanliness. It's just a statement that we could find no evidence.
Okay. Your relationship or your engagements with the now Lieutenant General Mosikile, she was at some point an acting commissioner in Gauteng, and she also headed up its detective services. What has been your engagements with her over the years?
I don't think I've spoken to her for more than 10 years. I can't remember. It would be a very long time ago.
So when you were in contact with her 10 years ago, however long it was, what sort of engagements did you have with her?
It's probably even more than 10 years ago. I'm afraid I can't remember. It's probably 15 years ago, 20
Did you
years.
have meetings with her regularly?
I don't think so. We may have had, I just can't remember.
You've never asked to have meetings with her and dropped off dossiers in her office on investigations?
I can't remember.
You don't?
It's possible. You know, when you open...
You know, that normally happens. We don't remember when we're not sure if someone has submitted evidence.
If I could remember, Chairman, I would absolutely say I can remember this and I can remember that. I do
You remember a lot of other things, though.
Well, with all due respect, you know, you have to try and move some of the stuff out of your memory to put other stuff into the memory.
No problem.
And as far as I can remember, my interactions with General Mosikile at the time were business-like, cordial and professional. The same like with General Sabia, we never had any social interactions with her. There would be, I think at one stage she was head of detectives for Gauteng.
Okay.
And during that period, there would have been cases that, and I don't think we're alone in saying this, that some cases get stuck in a log jam at a police station somewhere, or there's some interference with a case where the case doesn't get properly investigated, and the only way to deal with those matters is to escalate it. Okay. And we would have escalated those matters. So, and I think that's probably...
When she spoke about you rather affectionately, but I suppose she's younger and her memory might be a little bit more fresh.
If I'd say I probably haven't spoken to her for 10 years, I think that would be fairly accurate.
Okay. No, but I wasn't talking about the time on how long, but I was talking about at a period. But it's fine.
Pardon, I can't hear you. Sorry, Chair, this chair is grossly uncomfortable.
Next, Honorable.
No, she's continuing, sir.
She's using her minutes.
She's in charge.
She's using her minutes.
She's in charge.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm almost done anyway. Just on just on General Mosikile, there's an email, but it's unconfirmed yet, and we are getting clarity on this email, where she recommends you to do this investigation for Dr. Masuku. Like, highly recommended you. Would you be surprised if she would do something like that?
Chairman, I would have no knowledge of this email.
Okay.
I can't remember why Dr. Masuku came to us. People come to us and they ask us to do an investigation. The first thing we do
No
is,
problem.
is
It
the
was
normal
just a big
FICA
case.
checks and
Yeah.
stuff, and then they sign a mandate and we get on with the investigation.
Okay, completely understand, Mr. O'Sullivan. It was just quite a big case, so I thought it would be something that would be entrenched in your memory, but that's no problem. Let's talk about, apparently, and you'll tell us yes or no, there's a download or an existence of some proof of payments amounting to 200,000. And this reflects payments that were made towards McBride's legal fees at some point. Are you aware of anything like that?
Chairman, I think I already gave evidence that we made a donation to, and it was just a contribution. I believe the legal fees ran into millions, but we donated 200,000 rand.
So you are confirming that? Okay, no
That's
problem.
correct.
And you personally authorized those payments towards the legal fees?
That is correct. In fact, we paid it to the attorneys.
Okay, no problem. We're just going to go back a little bit when you applied for your permanent residency in South Africa in 1989. And in that application, with the information we received from Home Affairs, and I hope the evidence leaders circulated that bundle because we put it in the group a while ago. But in that bundle, we do have some copies. It's just two of the documents we're going to refer to. You declared that you owned two houses, one in the United Kingdom, which was still under mortgage and being paid, and then another house in South Africa. And you said you had very little cash in hand. And then there's no record on this application of multiple properties or significant capital investments. Is this correct?
No, so that would have been the properties in my personal name.
Oh, okay. No
that wouldn't have dealt with institutional.
Okay. So when you submit applications to Home Affairs, it's my understanding that you would state that this is my personal and these are. So you didn't provide the information to Home Affairs when you applied for your permanent residency to state that you also had, these are the companies and these are the properties that I have.
I can't, we're talking
You can't remember. Okay.
40 years ago, I went and I sat and they wanted accountants' records, audited accounts and so on. And if I have to look for them now, I don't think I'll find them.
Okay. Okay. Because Home Affairs file doesn't have anything that indicated that you had more than two properties and one was under investigation.
Under investigation?
Sorry, not under investigation, that you had any other properties that just indicate one was under mortgage.
I had multiple properties. So.
Well, you didn't declare that to Home Affairs when you applied in 1989.
I absolutely did. Yeah.
Oh, you did.
Yeah,
okay.
but they weren't in my name.
Okay, but you declared to them that.
I declared all my assets and liabilities.
Okay. So I think we must note that for our evidence leaders and our legal team that we get clarity on all the documents. They have provided it to us, but we must get it officially via the committee chair on what's information, because what we have, it's not showing that. And then just quickly, and on our last point here, would be in 1991, there was a motor accident judgment in the UK. Dr. R. Finn. So you wrote to the Department of Home Affairs stating that he was pursuing a private investigation against you for a motor accident that you caused. And then he obtained a judgment, 1991. And he obtained a judgment for you for £100,000. Are you aware of that correspondence?
I know nothing about it.
Oh, okay. And Home Affairs later contacted you regarding this matter, and you responded to the letter from Dr. Finn.
I don't
And
even
you
know who
listed
this
your-
Dr. Fenn is.
We don't know.
No.
Okay, so that's also something we must note and follow up and get clarity on the Home Affairs files. But in the meantime, we do have those few documents. I'm done. Thank you, Chair. And
Am I allowed to get copies of these documents?
So you didn't hand over those documents of Home Affairs that we posted 2 weeks ago?
Thanks, Chair. How many minutes? Until? 12:54. Mr. O'Sullivan, when you walked out of the hearing last time, that was you feeling very superior and looking very down at us and thinking you are more powerful than all of us. Am I correct to put that statement?
No, that's not correct.
But what was going on? I mean, if the chairperson is sitting there, we are here, why would you just feel this power that you don't have over Parliament and just walk out?
I'm afraid it's a misinterpretation on your part. It may look that way, unfortunately, and it's it's very unfortunate. My health isn't good, and I'm already now starting to feel quite a bit of pain sitting here.
Honorable,
And I really don't think.
Mr. O'Sullivan, can we reserve that question for our later session, like I requested? That we will come and deal with that matter and give you time to solicit answers from him. Yeah. If you can please now ask him, are you fine? You can proceed.
So when you were saying to Honorable Skosana, go and pay your debt, and so on and so forth, in the precinct of Parliament, you are continuing with your style of silencing people, intimidating people. And you thought Honorable Skosana was those kind of people who will sheepishly just disappear by you telling them about their private and personal matters. Because I think that's how you got your influence in society and in the law enforcement, where you come across personal information about people and you use it to silence them. And that fits very well into the narrative that you have become this bully in the country where you do as you wish. And you wanted to do that with Honorable Skosan. By extension, all of us sitting here.
Chairman, I didn't hear there's no question, it's just a statement.
Yeah, it's not only,
Should
we
I-
don't
should
only
I
ask
respond to
questions, we
this-
also make
should I
statements.
respond to the statement? Okay. You know, Chairman, when I left last week, I was followed out. Actually, first of all, there was an attempt to obstruct me leaving. And then I was followed out. And then outside Parliament, without parliamentary protection, I was provoked. I don't know what's all that squeaky noise. Outside Parliament, I was provoked. A statement was made in front of the glare of the media. He's a spy, he's running away. Look at that spy, he's running away. And I pointed out to him, very simply, I said, you're not in Parliament now. You don't I don't know what's this squeaky noise. I said, you're not in Parliament now. You don't have the protection of Parliament. It'd be better if you just go and settle your debt with the bank. And that was it. That's all I said. And it had nothing to do with bullying or trying to silence. If the member had not have been insulting me outside Parliament, I would have not said anything at all. But unfortunately, by that stage, I had heard enough insults.
Mr. O'Sullivan, just for your information, Mr. Skosana was still in Parliament. This is a precinct of Parliament, and all his privileges and yours were prevailing at that moment. So Parliament does not necessarily mean me and you sitting under this building. It means the whole precinct. And so if we're going to take that discussion further, at least have that understanding. But I want to ask a different question.
So the fact of the matter is, Chairman, I don't agree with that interpretation of the Act. I believe that Act applies to a sitting, either a committee or a parliamentary process. I don't believe it applies to the car park and the whole of the precinct. It's like saying, oh, you're in Cape Town, you can say anything you want. My interpretation, and there may be disagreement, my interpretation of it is that I was being badgered. I was being followed out and screaming and shouting at me, provoking me. And if that wouldn't have happened, there would have been no comment about go pay back the bank, or it's better if you go and settle the bank, or whatever the words were that I said. So I'm not accepting that you have parliamentary privilege everywhere. You have here, yes, you can call me all the names under the sun, and I have to sit here and tolerate it. But once you step outside, you're no longer having the protection. That's my interpretation. And if I'm wrong, then so be it. But the point is, I responded, and I'm, based on the information I had available at that time, I was just responding from my stomach and my heart, not from my head, because I was just tired of all the insults that I'd received that day.
Were you friends with is it Anthony, the one who bought Cratcher's house? Because earlier on, when Nomvalo asked you, Honorable Nomvalo asked you, the first impression you created was that you don't know the person who bought the house. It was bought by the company. Later on, I went to have a braai. I called the director of the company, and so on and so forth. And when members pursue you, it looks like you always knew this person, even when you were buying the house. Even when you went for a braai, you knew the person. Am I correct?
Yeah, so it's a timing issue because the house was sold, and the person that bought that, when I say the house was sold, the person that bought the house, I can't even remember his name. So actually, as far as Anthony is concerned, I bid at the auction, and I had him on a telephone because I suggested to him that if the house was available on auction for a good price, it would be worth buying. So I had already known him a number of years by that stage. And yeah, so that's it.
So you guys bought a Creature's house, you and Anthony?
No, I didn't buy it. I assisted him to buy the house.
But you are partners?
Not on that business.
No, or not on the company that bought the house?
That is correct.
So when it comes to buying the house, you and Anthony, even when you have assisted him and put him on the telephone and all of that, the relationship stops when he's buying the house. From there, it continues. This partnership. It only separates on the buying of the house, but otherwise you are partners.
Chairman, I have a lot of other business activities that Anthony isn't involved in. He has a lot of business activities that I'm not involved in. And we have some business activities which we are both partners in. That's how it works out there. But I was not the partner on that. I just merely assisted him by going to the auction and bidding.
And you know by principle that the complainant can never be an investigator on his own matter. That you know. You can't say there is nothing that stops the complainant to be an investigator. From a simple principle of law, you cannot be a complainant and investigator in your own matter.
Which act are we referring to?
No, I'm saying a principle. A generally accepted principle is that you can't be a complainant, an investigator, and a judge in your own matter.
Well, you certainly can't be investigator and judge, that's for sure, because that would be a distinct conflict of interest. But the reality of the situation is that you can be a complainant and investigator, provided you have no conflict of interest. Now, for example, if Forensics for Justice set up investigations into state-sponsored corruption, we're not a victim of that crime. The whole of the country are victims of those crimes. What we are doing is we are investigating those crimes for the sole purpose of bringing that case to a point where the corrupt individuals can be prosecuted. We don't go out there to fabricate any cases. All that evidence has to stand the test of time in a court of law. We sit with the prosecutors, we sit with the police, and where there's under-resourcing of the police and the prosecutors, we help them fill that gap by providing the specialized skills that we have, so that, for example, the matter can be brought to trial. And if you look at most of the big fraud and corruption cases today, the police don't work those cases on their own. They work them with forensic companies because they just don't have the resources to work those cases on their own. So you end up with firms like Ernst & Young or PwC. Some law firms have their own investigation teams like Weber Wenzel, Bowman's. And those teams work together with the police. We do exactly the same. We work together with the police. We don't drive the investigation. We assist the investigation. And I think that's the most important thing to understand. If the police had to do these investigations on their own, they'd never get out of the starting blocks because they just don't have the resources. So what happens is, and there's a balancing act, with Forensics for Justice, I fund those investigations because I believe it helps make the country a better country. And we also get some public subscription. But in the 10 years that Forensics for Justice has been running, I doubt very much that our public subscription exceeds
We
R1 million,
don't have too much time.
whereas
I'm being
my
so nice to you.
contribution exceeds 15 million rand. So I try to do it.
Yeah.
It's my way of putting something back into the community.
That's fine, but you just answered it. You are not investigating. You are assisting the investigation because you know for a fact that you cannot be a complainant and an investigator at the same time. So, for instance, if I were to complain about a criminal who ran away from Parliament and I open a case against that criminal and the police say, we can't see that criminal, here is the criminal at the airport. It doesn't make me an investigator. I'm just helping police who are saying, we can't see, we have been looking around and we can't find this person. I'm like, in the same matter where I'm a complainant, the person I'm complaining at said is going to the airport, is probably at the airport, is rushing for a flight. We don't know why he's rushing for a flight when he's got a private jet. Look for him there at the airport. I'm assisting them. I'm not investigating, but I'm a complainant. You know for a fact that that's why you are saying we are assisting them in the investigation. You cannot be a complainant and investigator in your own matter. You know that.
I disagree.
Then you are deliberately trying to mislead this house. Because this country must live here with the understanding that there can be complainants and be investigators in their own matters. It's wrong.
Chairman, the if the complainant is an investigative firm, but not the victim of the crime, it's standard practice that they carry out the initial investigation, and that's exactly what we do. We carry out the initial investigation, we prepare all the evidence and the sworn statements that we take, and when we've finished with doing all that, we go and sit at the police station and we register the docket. And after that, we meet with the police and we meet with the prosecutor and we ascertain, is there something else they need? If we are able to assist, we will do so. And we have cases going at the moment, complex fraud cases involving hundreds of millions of rand, where the prosecutor sits with us and the police, and the prosecutor would say, is it possible to get a statement from this person and that person? And the policeman would say, that person is employed by the complainant company. So is it okay if the forensic firm get that statement? And the prosecutor agrees. And that's standard practice. It's going on all the time. So it's not a case of where we are the victim. We are the complainant.
You, Mr. Robert.
Sorry.
Hello, Sullivan.
I wanted to ask you if you've got a police station in your house.
The time of the member has expired.
I've got 3 of them.
The time of the member has expired. Look at me. The time of the member has expired. Honorable members, I had said that we are going to take Honorable Mngango. We will not be able to take Honorable Mngango now because we must move to Good Hope Chambers. And then we will resume proceedings at 20 minutes to 14 hours. So we are going to be on break until that time. And then at 20 to 2, we are proceeding we are resuming the proceedings at Good Hope Chambers. And the first speaker there will be Honorable Mngango.